Lesson 8-7, solving ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Our objective is to factor the trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c and to also solve the equations in the same form. The only difference here from what we have already done is that there will be a number other than 1 in the leading coefficient spot. Okay, we've done all the ones where the a was 1 and it was a lot easier factoring. The thing is with this, there is a lot more trial and error for you, and you must test the outer inner to get the middle term. So we follow the same steps, and I do promise the more of these you do, the better you will get at being able to pick the right ones maybe the first time. But there's nothing wrong with maybe having to do a little extra trial and error until you get to that point. So I've got our first example, 5x squared plus 27x plus 10. So here's the problem here that is now come into play. When I do my first set of parentheses, I have to ask myself first, what would give me 5x squared? Well, the good news about 5 is it is a prime number. That's great. That's the next best thing to it being a 1. Other than that, the next best thing is if it's prime. So, because there's only one choice, 5x and x. That's very good, much better. Now, as you're doing this, you go through similar steps. You find the sign in front of the c term. If it's plus, it means my signs are going to be the same, just like before, and they're both going to be this first sign. So I'm going to put plus and plus. So here's the place where it really changes up. You got to think of all factor terms of c for 10. 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. You'll have to try both of those in those empty spots and do the outer inner until you get 27. Now, here is my advice to you. Not that it's foolproof, but generally when you have sets of factor pairs, you want to get the sets that are closest together in number. It seems like those will work more often than not. So instead of going with 1 and 10 first, numbers so far apart, I would definitely try 2 and 5. So when I do this, if I put 2 in the first spot and 5 in the second, I am just guessing. Okay, it's trial and error. I am just guessing. Here's where you make your final decision. I do outer, which is 5x times 5, 25x. Then I come back and do inner, 2 times x. If I combine 25x and 2x together, what would I get? 27x. And what did I want? 27x. So, lo and behold, we got it right at the first try. It is 5x plus 2 times x plus 5. Now, if you had put 1 and 10, we're going to do some where we're definitely not going to pick the right ones. I'm going to do that on purpose. But, like I said, you'll see how things get a lot easier as you go. Olivia.
So on these, you don't do the whole FOIL thing, you just do the outer inner?
You just do the outer inner because you've already picked what gives you 5x squared, and you've already picked what gave you 10. So the only question is, do the outer inner add up to that middle term? That's the determining factor. Ethan.
So that means you have to have the exact order for outer inner for the 2 and the 5?
Yeah, the outer inner is going to determine if you get the right answer. Yes. If I would have put 5 first and then 2, the outer inner would not have come up to 27, so I would have known that was wrong.
So you have to test both?
Yeah. Well, if you get it right the first time, you're done.
So
you would have to test every possible combination, yes. Absolutely. Yes?
So I would have been wrong if you did 5x plus 5 times x plus 2.
Yeah, here, look. What if I would have made it 5 and 2? What's my outer? 10x. What's my inner?
5x.
5x. What's that together?
15x.
So that's not right, is it? 15x?
Yeah.
So you would have said, oh, that's not right. I got to try another pair. So we just lucked out that it worked the first time, okay? All right, let's go on. 3x squared plus 26x plus 35. You do your two sets of parentheses. Again, we are very fortunate that it's a 3. It's prime. There's no choice. 3x and x. Inside, or my first sign, not my first sign, I'm sorry, in front of my C, my sign is a plus. So both signs will be positive. Factor pairs of 35, 1 times 35, and 5 and 7. Okay, I'm going to try and go with the two numbers close together. I'm going to go 7 and 5 on purpose. Outer is 15x. Inner is 7x. What do you do when you put 7 and 15 together? 22. Not going to work, is it? But I am not done yet. I got to try 5 and 7 in the other direction. So outer is 21x, inner is 5x. What are they together? 26x. So this is my answer. If that would not have worked, then you would have had to try 1 and 35 in either direction. So it's just trial and error at this point. All right. Questions about that? Let's go on to C, example C. 24x squared minus 22x plus 3. Do you see where there could be a potential problem here? Yes, I do too. A potential problem with 24x squared. So I'm going to go ahead and set my two sets of parentheses up. And I've got to come up with this list. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Okay? Now, just so that you don't miss any, I always go down that left-hand side and go to the numbers in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many I need to do until you meet up with the other side. If you go through your whole list, you're going to catch all of the factor pairs. You get what I'm saying? Because if I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doesn't go into it, and then I'm already at 6. Well, 6 was already paired up with 4. If you go in order like that, you'll catch them all. Okay, so any suggestions on which pair we want to try? 4 and 6. So I would say 4x and 6x. The best news of the day, well, we haven't got there yet. So there's a plus sign here. And the plus sign means the signs are the same. They're both going to be this sign, minus. The best news of the day for this problem that has so many possibilities for that first term is, what about 3?
Prime.
It's prime. So let's do this. Let's go 1 and 3 because that's my only possibilities. And when I test outer, negative 12x, inner, negative 6x, what is that together? When I combine those together, what is it?
20.
Negative 18x. That's not our 22, so that must be wrong. So I turn around and I put 3 in here and 1 in here and hope it works. If not, I've got to redo my 4x and 6x then. That's my only option. Outer, negative 4x. Inner, negative 18x. When you put negative 18 and negative 4 together, what do you get?
Mrs. Walter.
All right, so what do you get when you put negative 18 and negative 4 together? Negative 22, so this would be correct. All right, 4x squared plus 24x plus 32. Okay, check that out. 4 and 32, there's options. So let's do some extra trial and error here. 4x squared. So for the 4, I've got 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. I'm definitely going to try 2 and 2. Oh, I lied. I got to talk about something else on this one. Sorry. We will see when we talk more about this tomorrow. Look at this problem. 4x squared plus 24x plus 32. Look at all those numbers. Ethan, what do you think about that?
We can divide them by 4.
We can divide them all by 4, and you know what? Let's do that because that would make your life so much simpler. Check that out. Take a 4 out of every term. That would be just x squared plus 6x plus 8. Now, doesn't that look so much simpler to deal with? So I've got a 4 that must stay out in front now with these parentheses. 4 can never disappear. It's still hanging in there. And now I'm back to what we did last week. X and X. My sign's going to be a plus because plus there means they're the same and they're both as this. Now I can just ask this time, what's the factor pair of 8 that equals 6?
2 and 4.
2 and 4. See how much simpler that is now that we've moved up a step. So we're thinking, oh, those were so simple. Right. Okay, questions about that?
Can we do that for all the ones that are like that?
Yes, you look for a common factor to take out to make your life simpler. If you can find it, go for it. Okay, now an equation. So they're going to throw some equations in this. Make sure when you're solving these quadratic equations, it always must equal 0. So this example E, 18b squared minus 19b minus 8 equals 3b squared minus 5b. So first and foremost, you want to check out the b squared and you want that to be positive. So I'm going to take everything to the left so my b squared term remains positive. So I'm going to subtract 3b squared from each side. And I get 15b squared minus 19b minus 8. It's still got a negative 5b over there. So I'm going to go ahead and add a 5b to each side. It looks like I'm going to run out of room here, probably. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. 15b squared minus 14b minus 8. And that equals 0. Okay, so when I do this, I'm going to go ahead and factor because there's no common term to take out. My factor pairs of 15 are 1 and 15 or 3 and 5. I would definitely try 3b and 5b. The minus means the signs are plus and minus. Now sometimes you're going to get the right answer for the outer inner, but the signs are wrong, so you might have to switch up the signs because remember those can go either way. Alright, so for 8 I've got 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. So let me put a 2 in first and a 4. I'm testing my outer inner. Let me kind of clean this up a little bit. It is a minus 14b that it needs to be. So outer is negative 12b. Whoops. And inner is a positive 10. What's that difference? Okay, so that's not right. So I'm going to make it, this is a good argument for pencil, isn't it? So I'm going to put 2 in the first one and 4 in the second. So outer is, wait a minute, did I just do that one? I think I just did that one, didn't I? Sorry. Let's put 4 in the first one and 2 in the second. So outer is negative 6b. And inner is positive 20b, and if I put those two things together, what do I get? Positive 14b, but what do I need it to be? Negative 14b. So check this out. I got to make this one the minus and this one the plus. So be aware, if you get the right number but not the right sign, change your signs up. So now it's positive 6 and negative 20, and that's what I want. So set each one of these equal to 0. And solve them. So add 4, 3b equals 4, and divide by 3. So one answer is 4/3. Here subtract 2. 5b is 2, and divide by 5. So 2/5. My two answers on this one would be 4/3 and 2/5. Alright, one last quick thing. Factor 3x squared plus 7x minus 5. 3x squared only has 3x and x. The minus in front of the 5 says the signs are different. And if I put, no matter which way I put these, I am never going to get positive 7, no matter which way I do it. So if that happens, the answer would be prime.